Hello listeners, you're listening to 18 Minutes with Satyal and Silwal. I'm Satyal.
And I'm Silwal, and we're a weekly podcast from the Himalayas.
When it's Tuesday and it's 7:30, you know it's time for perspectives, conversations and stories.
Now we're in the 67th episode, and in the 66th episode we brought in Rajesh, who was one of our loyal listeners, and that was an ode to one loyal listener, and we had the ability to bring him in. Now we talked about how if you have an idea, we'd love to have you guys in on the podcast, and I think today is that case where it's not because we don't have content, we have plenty of content, it's just that we found a better idea somewhere else and we just wanted to bring him in. So Satyal, just introduce this amazing person.
Our friend for today with the brilliant idea, better than all the content that we already had, is Prajwol Wagle. Woo! And Prajwol, you intend to talk to us about what life must be like when we're 65.
Yes.
How did this idea pop up in
And
your
why
head?
did you approach us?
Thank you for inviting me first of all. म चाहिँ त्यही लास्ट विक चाहिँ सत्याल दाइसँग ह्याङ आउट गरिरहेको थिएँ अनि उहाँ चाहिँ एक मतलब अफिसमा हाम्रो किङ्स अफिसमा बसिरहनु भएको थियो अनि अप्रोच गर्दा चाहिँ उहाँ नर्मल्ली आफ्नो चेयरमा रिल्याक्स वेमा बसिरहनु भएको थियो.
That means he's not working. King's College faculty members, are you listening?
रिल्याक्स वेमा बसिरहनु भएको थियो अनि त्यसपछि मैले अनि सोधेँ दाइ के रिल्याक्स वेमा पुरै हजुरबा पारामा बस्नु हजुरबा पारामा बस्नु भएको चाहिँ के हो पुरै भोलि पर्सि नि यस्तै हो क्या पुरै होइन घाम तापेर फेरि कौसीमा बस्दा घाम तापेर बस्नुहुन्छ होला
आपको सिजन छ होइन
आफ स्याउ सुन्तला खाँदै भयो पुरा भइरहेको थियो अनि त्यस्तै वेमा त्यस्तै कुरा हुँदा हुँदै अनि सागर दाइले चाहिँ इट्स ए ब्रिलियन्ट आइडिया जस्तो फिल गर्नुभयो अनि मलाई पनि आई लाइक द्याट आइडिया सो आई थट अफ टकिङ अबाउट इट.
Okay, so Silva, 65, we're talking about 65, but 65 some bad chala, what do you think?
Based on the city that we're living in right now, there's a high probability that we might not make it. Hospitals are going to earn in millions and billions because every one of us of our generation living in Kathmandu right now would have a lot of diseases by the time they reach the age of 65. Hopefully that's not the case, but I'm pretty sure everyone is going to have lung diseases and whatnot. So while I think we will not live till 65, there's a low probability of doing that, but I still want to feel like I would live till 65. If you've listened to the 11th episode where we've done what if scenarios, I asked you about would you want to live forever or die in the next 5 minutes. You said you would want to die in the next 5 minutes. I said I'd want to live forever. Prajwol, if I was to ask you that question, what would your answer be?
त्यही तपाईँले भने जस्तै एन्सर हो मेरो पनि हुन्छ नि अब भोलि त के हुन्छ थाहा छैन अबको लाइफमा के हुन्छ नि थाहा छैन बट या आई डु वान्ट टु लिभ अन्टिल 65 or आफ्टर द्याट होइन तर जस्तो भए पनि अब म चाहिँ के फेयरफुल हुन्छु मलाई चाहिँ के लाग्छ नि आई थिङ्क ओल्ड एज होममा गएर इन्डप भइन्छ कि जस्तो फिल लाग्छ मलाई चाहिँ है त्यतिखेरसम्म अनि हुन्छ नि अब त्यस्तो स्याड म्युजिक भिडियोहरू स्याड त्यस्तै पुरै कन्टेन्टहरू बनाएर हुन्छ त्यो नेपाली कन्टेन्टहरू त्यस्तै हो होइन त्यस्तो देख्दाखेरि चाहिँ के थाहा मेरो लाइफ त्यसपछि के हुन्छ त्यो सिचुएसन पुग्दाखेरि के हुन्छ भने जस्तो सोचाइ आउँछ मेरो मनमा चाहिँ.
I think let's start off with this. When you're 65, Prajwol चाहिँ he thinks that he'll end up in black and white movie ma jastै old age home ma with probably other old people as well. Satyal, what do you think would be your ideal scenario or an ideal day for you at the age of 65? What are you doing? Where are you? And what's happening? You're not a ghost. You've not died, by the way.
Well, I was about to say, I personally think I'm going to live till I'm 50. So 65 is too far-fetched for me. But if I'm 65, I think I'll be wearing that full ganji huncha ni. त्यो लाएर probably be watching football or cricket whole day, not doing anything else. Well, I was talking to Silwal before recording the podcast. He's talked about how he's not going to name any of his properties to his children. So that would be, I think I want to follow that advice and not, do the same thing because that way I'd probably be in my own house instead of being in an old age house. Because I don't want to go into that black and white scenario here. So
now, just to put things into perspective, while 65 might feel like a very big number or we're too old, if we were to look at our own fathers, your father and my father, your father is around 61.
Yeah.
My father is around 62, 63.
Right.
So, imagine you in that age in the next 4 years you're going to be 65, so I don't think it's as bad as we might make it about being in an old age home. But if you have sons like Satyal and Silwal, maybe because they did not earn anything in life, it would be much more beneficial for them to...
You made them go to school and college and they ended up with a podcast that doesn't even make money.
Now,
your life is dire straits.
Now for me, like this is one thing that I've imagined where I think when I'm 65, because I've told Satyal this as well, I want my children, if I have children, and God bless, they live a good healthy life, but by the time they're 18 I'd want them to move out of my house, if I have a house. If I'm still living in my father's house, then my grandfather might be like, their grandfather will be like, why do you want to
so
take them
you
out?
get to stay in your father's house, but then they
can't.
get kicked out.
That's so rude.
That is
so
I'm sorry if you're listening to me right now, my kids. I did not love you back then. Now, coming back, I think it's highly important because I've seen एउटा कुरा भन्छ नि, like what your parents felt about when they were young, this is how I want to live my life, or this is what I teach my children भने जस्तै. I think the generation that I've seen, and especially बाहिरको मान्छेहरूको हेर्दाखेरि चाहिँ the tendency of not making my children cooped up inside a house. I think I'd want to get them out like as better as possible. I'd want to get them out as early as possible. The wifey and I get a lot of free time, like, first of all.
Let's not go into the details of what happens after that.
And then the second thing is, because I love traveling, I'd want to save up money for myself as well. I'm not being selfish, I'm being very practical in the sense that I'd want them to get their own shit sorted out so that I can live my remaining years in at least some kind of happiness, if I've earned money, that is.
Prajwol's fees is suddenly down because whatever Silwal plans to do with his children will probably do that to him and send him to elderly house.
That you are no longer part of this family.
I need to save for traveling, so get the hell out of here, go into oldest house.
Because Silwal दाइले चाहिँ हुन्छ नि वो एडभेन्चरहरू गर्नुपर्छ, ट्राभलिङहरू गर्नुपर्छ नि. I think I don't want to have children anymore. That's the easiest thing. हुन्छ नि आफ्नै अहिले जे छ त्यो पनि घरबाट पनि भइहाल्छ. So हुन्छ नि it's very sorted out for me.
Right.
And so after I get married, I'll have talk with my wifey.
So you don't have to talk to your wifey, just go get a vasectomy.
But then, okay, this is interesting what you brought up. Right now you might feel like it's a lot of burden because obviously you're now suddenly responsible for another human being. You cannot leave them to other people to take care of them, right? When you're 65, you look back and then you realize that you never gave it a shot to have a child.
Yeah.
That would be pretty daunting, could be, right? Yeah. What do you think about that? Regrets or के form मा हुन सक्थ्यो होला? That could, not having children could be one.
Regret हुँदैन, but I might find it positive because old age home end up हुन नि पर्दैन.
He's still stuck up on that idea.
Now, okay, we've been talking about having kids and everything, and we've already talking about children and not having children. So Prajwol ko लागि एउटा simple कुरा which Satyalai काम लाग्छ हैन, is instead of getting a vasectomy, just don't get it. Wear protection so that if you take it off, you might still have a chance to get
Satyalai काम लाग्छ.
Because by the time you're 65, if you want a kid, there's still some chance. I'm not a doctor, but still.
I was just joking, but I think I want to have a children. I mean,
He suddenly realizes children might actually tune into the podcast someday. Like, you never wanted us, did you?
No, okay. So making this fun talk a little more serious and a lot more dramatic. By the time you're 65, our parents are no more alive. There's a high chance that they will not survive.
Very high chance.
By the age, if we're 65,
they're probably around 90.
Yeah,
and looking at Kathmandu right now, it will be difficult to.
I know. So how would you? Because it's not that the moment you've turned 65, your parents have just dropped on the floor and then passed away, but rather it's been a few years that they've probably passed away. And God bless every one of our parents' souls that they're still alive and healthy and living a good life. But if they're not around, how would you cope up with that? Is it something that you think about? Would you think about what would bring your memories to think about them?
मैले चाहिँ के फिल गर्छु भने अहिले अब घर गएपछि अब आफ्टर लङ हार्ड डे हैन, घर गएपछि मम्मीले के खानुहुन्छ भने सोध्दाखेरि अथवा ड्याडीले घर आइस कता छस् भन्ने सोध्दा कहिले घर नपुग्दाखेरि आई थिङ्क त्यस्तो मोमेन्टहरू एकदम मिस हुन्छ नट ओन्ली द्याट धेरै कुराहरू मिस हुन्छ बट त्यस्तो कुराहरू चाहिँ वार्म फुड अब थाकिरहेको बेला वी डोन्ट वान गो इन किचन्स अहिले होइन धेरैजनाको होला अथवा कसलाई जहाँ चल्छ होला बट वी डोन्ट वान गो इन किचन्स अनि त्यसपछि अब त्यही घरमा मम्मीले ल्याइदिएको त्यो टेबलमा खाना अथवा ड्याडीले हुन्छ नि पकेट मनी गरेर दिएको अथवा हुन्छ नि ड्याडीले माया गरेर अब हुन्छ नि कहाँ जानला भनेर कहिलेकाहीँ घरमा ढिलाउँदा सोद्धाखेरि आई थिङ्क त्यस्तो मोमेन्टहरू द वे दे केयर द वे दे फिल अब त्यो वार्म यस्तो अभियसली हुन्छ नि लाइफमा त्यस्तो त फिल भइहाल्छ त्यो
What about you, Satyal? What?
Well, I guess it's gonna feel very empty at first. Asti, I went to a friend's house. Usko चाहिँ his parents passed away pretty early. अनि ऊ बाहिर बस्छ अनि काठमाडौँमा चाहिँ कहिलेकाहीँ आउँछ सो आई वेन्ट टु हिज हाउस आई वाज प्रिटी अर्ली टु अराइभ सो आई वाज वेटिङ फर हिम ही वाज अल्सो आउटसाइड आई कुड फिल अ लट अफ एम्प्टिनेस इन अराउन्ड द रूम्स कि पुरानो मेमोरिजहरू हेरेर and that really made me think long and hard about the same question that you've asked. यो एकदमै unimaginable कुरा हो and probably that is the same reason why we take them for granted. A lot of times we do that, don't we? You've even made that presentation about that at the Storytellers. You talk about how we take our parents for granted. So probably, I don't know, your episode sunera, if all our listeners could just go and
hug their moms and dads.
Hug their moms and dads and just spend a little while and say Satyal and Silwal, they just made us come and talk to you. Probably they would also subscribe and more subscribers.
We'll have more subscribers.
But yes, it's something very daunting.
I think the way I'd want to put it is the emptiness and you talked about the warmth, and I think because our parents are our safety nets, which we take for granted, and however hard we may fall, we always know that they have our back. Knowing that back is no more or that net is no more, I think that would make me fearful of a lot of things, because if I cough 3 times in front of my mom, she already tells me about going to the doctors. That will be missing, and there'll be no one to actually have a safety net. Because as much as closer as I am to my parents or the bond that we have, there's no guarantee I'll have the same bond with my children. Because that's a hypothetical, so you never know what's going to happen. But then again, to put a positive spin to it, because you've lived in that safety net for under your parents, maybe you and your grandchildren and your children, you'll be the net, and that's the circle of life. So talking about grandchildren, what do you think would be your relationship with your grandchildren, and how would you want to take that? Would you be the cool grandfather or the strict grandfather?
Well, my whole plans of having grandchildren is in jeopardy because I personally don't really imagine having kids. This might sound very weird, but
so Satyal's sons or daughters, I'm going to make you listen to this episode and make you comment on it.
I'm going to edit the final version anyway. So it's pretty hard for me to imagine that right now. But maybe I'll just play with Silwal's grandchildren if he allows me to be near him by then.
I don't want pedophiles I don't want pedophiles near my grandchildren playing with my...
Silwal will have Alzheimer's. He's like, who the hell are you? Fuck off. Prajwol, what about you? How do you envision your relation with your grandchildren?
मेरो लागि चाहिँ ग्रान्डचिल्ड्रनसँग रिलेसनसिप भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ अब आई थिङ्क हामीले आफू पनि हाम्रो प्यारेन्ट्सहरूलाई हेर्दाखेरि हामीले आफ्नो भनरेबिलिटीहरू अथवा विलिङनेसहरू अनि हामीलाई जे लाइफमा सेक्रेट्सहरू हुन्छ नि धेरै कुरा सेयर गरिरहेको छ जुन चाहिँ हामीले ड्याडी मम्मीसँग सेयर गर्दैनौँ अनि हुन्छ नि त्यस्तो सेयर गर्दा आई थिङ्क त्यो फ्रेन्डसिप बिल्डअप हुन्छ होला आफ्नो ग्रान्ड चिल्ड्रेनसँग अन्त त्यो फ्रेन्डसिप छुट्टै हुन्छ त्यसको त्यो वार्म त्यसको नेचर त्यसको त्यो हुन्छ ब्युटी त्यो छुट्टै फिल हुन्छ अनि त्यसमा छुट्टै हामीलाई त्यसपछिको लाइफ जुन जिउनलाई त्यसपछिको लागि धेरै स्ट्रेन्थ प्रोभाइड गर्छ जस्तो फिल हुन्छ अनि अर्को कुरा हामीसँग धेरै चक्लेटहरू पनि हुन्छ अनि उनीहरू हाम्रो त्यो चक्लेट दिएर त्यो एउटा छुट्टै खालको टाइम पनि हुन्छ
आई थिङ्क यो कुरा चाहिँ बिकज आई स्टिल हेभ अल अफ माई ग्रान्ड पेरेन्ट्स with me, I've seen the love and bond that they have for their grandchildren, sometimes even more than their own children. Ani मेरो एउटा short story चाहिँ about how I was close with my grandparents on the हेरी चाहिँ जहिले पनि if I was to do naughty things, my mom would scold at me. So we lived in the ground floor, my grandparents lived in the first floor, and my uncles were in the second floor. So whenever I knew that my parents were about to scold me or do anything, म ठ्याक्क त्यो कोरिडोरमा जान्थेँ and I used to start crying loudly so that my grandparents would listen to me. And then the moment, because they hear it, they used to just bring me, and I was like wrapped around in their love, and I would not be touched by my parents. But they got smarter over the years, and they used to actually lock the door. So I could not actually run around. But having said that, because I think there's so many things that we could talk about. If there was one fear that you have when you're 65, a fear that you have, Prajwol, a fear about a fear.
You might have when you're 65.
Yeah.
Health issues, probably cancer.
It's like so specific.
म त्यो हुन्छ नि त्यो क्यान्सर भन्ने एकदम मेरो हेटेस्ट वर्ड हो कि
Okay.
डिक्सनेरीमा हेटेस्ट वर्ड हो. सो आई थिङ्क हुनुहोस् होइन जे पनि हुनसक्छ. अनि त्यसपछि अथवा आफूले खान मन लागेको कुराहरू खान नपाउने, अथवा अहिले कहिले काहीँ फुटबलहरू खेल्न मन लाग्छ, त्यो चाहिँ यसमा गएपछि फुटबल स्पोर्ट्सहरू खेल्न मन लाग्दैन, अथवा मर्निङ वाकै गर्न जान पनि गाह्रो हुनसक्छ. यु नेभर नो. मलाई चाहिँ त्यस्तो त्यस्तो कुराहरूले चाहिँ एफेक्ट पार्छ, किनभने त्यो लाइफमा त्यो यङ एजमा धेरै टाइमसम्म क्यारी आउट गरियो त्यो आफूले. सो त्यो मिस हुन्छ.
For me, it would be the feeling of being burdensome to people who care for me. As much as I'd want to take care of myself, it would be very hard to do that. So there would be no other option but to be burdened on them. So that is something that I don't really look forward to. What about you, man?
I've told you guys before, and I'll still say it. It's me losing out my memories. I might have lived a long and happy and entertaining life, and with lots of ups and downs. But what if I get Alzheimer's or something that makes me forget about my memories?
You'll forget about Tuesdays and Saturdays.
Yes, I'll forget about all these things. And for me, it's that emptiness of I am old, but I have no memory.
Right.
That would suck for me. So yeah,
Okay,
that would.
so I guess like one last thing before we
I have one
let
question.
everyone go.
Yeah, sure.
यो पोडकास्ट त्यतिखेरसम्म नि रन हुन्छ कि हुँदैन तपाईँहरूलाई के लाग्छ? 65.
Satyal is gonna die by the age of 50.
Yeah, so
Like,
it'll run for the next 25 years. Okay, so one last question to you guys would be, if there's one thing that you would want to see to the 65-year-old you, for that you to come back to this podcast episode and listen, what would it be?
yeah, let's start with our guest.
मेरो लागि चाहिँ अब त्यतिखेर भन्दाखेरि अब आई थिङ्क त्यतिखेरसम्म म जिउँछु भने अथवा मेरो मेमोरीहरू सब एकदम हुन्छ नि स्पेसिफिक छ, मैले सोचिरहेको कुराहरू भइरहेको छ नि, आई थिङ्क त्यतिखेरसम्म चाहिँ आई थिङ्क यु हेभ लिभड अ राम्रै लाइफ. आई थिङ्क त्यतिखेरसम्म बाँच्नु भनेको नि इट्स स्ट्रेन्थ, इट्स अ च्यालेन्ज हुन्छ नि. अहिलेको जुन कन्डिसनमा हाम्रो वर्ल्ड अहिले पास हुनु भइरहेको छ, त्यतिखेरसम्म लिभ अप गर्नु भने नि त्यो ठुलो नै जस्तो लाग्छ मलाई चाहिँ.
So it's my turn.
Yes.
Because I'll be talking to my 65-year-old self in the future. That 65-year-old is coming back. I think I'll have asked or I'll have answered, did I live a healthy or happy life to have been healthy enough till 65? Have I been honest with myself in terms of my health, with my relationships, with everything? And did I do the things that I was supposed to do in order to fulfill my potential? So I'm going to look back at my 25-year-old self and be like, did you actually do it? So
Okay. I would just look back on my 25-year-old self and say, you guys followed your passion project. I'm so proud of you.
And you still have hair.
So Prajwol, thank you for hanging out with us. We'll be back again next Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. And one last thing.
It's never too late to start.
She asked me, son, when I grow old, will you buy me a house of gold? And when your father turns to stone, will you take care of me? I will make you queen of everything you see. I'll put you on the map, I'll cure you of disease. Let's say we